This is an example of the woman who taught her daughter, which is the woman you are trying to date and possibly marry today. Meet Judge Judy Scheindlin, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now, Judge Judy, as she's more commonly named, she is 82 years old. She's been married 3 times, and twice to the same man, by the way. Her first marriage was to Ronald Levy from 1964 to 1976, and then she was married to Jerry Scheindlin from 1978 to 1990, and then in 91 to present day. Now, she has been a lawyer or an attorney and a judge since 1965. And present day, she's still a TV arbitrator, if you will, on the show Judge Judy and Judy Justice, if you will, and other shows like that, right? So, but you know Judge Judy, she's very famous. She's along the lines of the people. She was right after The People's Court, which was a famous show. And her show has been very entertaining. And she has a nice attitude. However, she has taught her... she is one of the women that instills in women to have a backup plan, or as you know, the notorious one would say, the divorce is planned before the wedding.
The divorce is planned at the wedding.
Judge Judy is going to talk to Amy Poehler. She has a podcast. She's an actor, and she's going to talk to her about why, as a woman, you should have, as she called, an exit strategy, right? So we're going to get into this content. Of course, this is on YouTube. I'll give my fair use clause. So before we get into the reaction, for all of you, stop playing the videos. Stop pausing the video, ninjas. For all of you, you talk too much, ninjas.
You shut up!
A link will be in the description box. You can watch it without my commentary or interruption. If you're still here, thank you very much for your viewership and fair use.
Just getting back to little or younger Judy, you decide, okay, I have this part of me that kind of sees the world this way. I want to go to law school. What year did you graduate law school?
I graduated, I think, in 1964 from law school. I did college in, 5.5 years, went summers and got out of law school. And then I had a job that I hated.
Yeah, corporate lawyer?
I worked for L'Oreal of Paris. They were hiring 2 lawyers, a man and a woman. And the man,
Now, before I continue this, I have to play the previous part of her statement for context, because they're talking about how she got into law and how she actually got her job as a judge and things like that. And this will go into why she says what she says. All right. Now, again, having an exit plan, I guess, isn't a bad thing in today's society. Actually, men would probably prefer it. That's one less thing we have to worry about if you have your own. However, that creates this whole independent, ideology for most women that will see a man as less than. So having a exit plan out the gate might be good in the end, but during the relationship, it is very harmful and very, it makes for a toxic relationship as the years go by. You know what I'm saying? Most of you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, and the video was sped up, to 1.25. I'll sped up just a little bit, so that way we don't have to be here all day, all right?
in the corporate effect. And me, they gave a sheet of drug products that were their L'Oreal products, Suffrage and all different kinds of hair tints. And they gave me the job of calling the drugstores and getting orders from them. He was doing law work.
Wow.
And I was doing
sales, basically.
And I was doing sales secretarial work.
Yeah.
So I did what you did then. You got pregnant. That was the only way to
get out
quit
of your job.
And then I was home for a while with.
So she's saying basically back in the day, which yes, is true, I guess. The only way to get a job or to not work a job anymore was to get pregnant. That way you can get married and you have somebody take care of you so you don't have to work. Because apparently she had the same position or a similar position with another guy back in the 60s, but they relegated her to doing a lesser position essentially than her male counterpart. And I get it. You know, the family's gonna, say, well, that's messed up and no wonder she thinks that way. Whatever.
Kids for a bit. And I started watching soap operas.
Ooh, which ones?
Now, I don't remember, but I said, life has to be more than this for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fortunate to go to an event from a lawyer's event, and I met the law student a man who was a law student with me, and he said, I'm looking for somebody in the family court. I work at Corporation Counsel in the family court. You interested in a job? And I remember going home and telling my family, I said, Mommy's going to work, and who's going to take care of us? And I said, a very nice lady. And they said, who is it? I said, I don't know yet. But she'll be a very nice lady. You're going to be very happy.
But I love.
So it sounds to me back in the 60s or 70s, whenever this event occurred, that she was either married or she was a single mom, and she landed a good position. She got fortunate to land a good job being a family law attorney. And so, yeah, she could afford to be away from her children to do something that makes more money. I get it. She had a good opportunity. And so the kid's like, well, what are we going to do? Because you're not going to be home. Well, she's going to get a nanny or a babysitter to take care of y'all because I got to do what I got to do, right? Understood.
That story because, I think on behalf of working women everywhere and women that work in the home, which is also its own job, that you always were an example of a woman who got great self-esteem from their work and who we got to see work in real time. That is what watching you feels like. It feels like a very successful woman at work.
You can. You have two boys. You love them. They love you. And we have this host of a family now.
You have a blended family.
We have a blended family. And my second great-grandchild, who's cute as a bug's ear, I'm sure some would have preferred that I be home to make them a hot lunch and send it off to school like everybody else's moms did in those years.
Yeah, you were very unique in that way.
There weren't a lot of full-time working moms. But I can tell you now, they are reaping the benefit of my being a full-time working person.
Yeah.
Now here goes the tutelage, if you will, that Judge Judy is about to impart on the women out there via Amy Poehler on her podcast, all right? Because like she said, her children are reaping the benefits of her being a working mom with two parents working outside the household and then being raised pretty much by babysitters, all right? Again, this happens all the time in the modern era, the modern world, modern times. And, the only people that suffer in this is not the parents because, let's be clear, they're successful and they do get to provide a better life for their children. But sometimes the children need the mother home. And, yeah, they need to see the dad to a lesser degree, but especially the mom. In recent days, especially with the culture and everything going on, everything that these children soak in as far as culture is concerned, they need somebody to ground them, and usually that should be the mother. I know you femmies out there are going to say, well, why the dad can't be there too, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. There's two different roles here. You probably don't understand that, and you probably don't want to, but continue, Judy. If you've made it this far in the video and you're still here, thank you again for your viewership. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and that notification bell, that way you can be notified whenever I go live or drop new content. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, please do so by hitting the Cashapp $ Mr. Normie. And you can also go to my Ko-Fi page, ko-fi.com/workingmanmg. Also, I'm trying to build a community on Locals. So if you would, go please check out my Locals page and you can join for just $5 a month. You can post and we can build a community of like-minded working men over there. Thank you for your time. Now back to the video.
And
How did you deal with being one of a few during that time? Like, did you struggle at all with feeling?
no, I didn't struggle at all.
Yeah.
I just felt as if it was right for me. And, I think that if you're happy at home, being a full-time homemaker and parent, and they're needed. You need somebody to take kids on field trips and to be there for the bake sale and to be a really active part of the PTA. That's what makes things go around.
And the way she framed it just now is like basically like it's a job. There's no nurturing in there. You're just there to do all the extra stuff that the dad doesn't do, PTAs and bake lunches and take them to field trips. That sounds very pleasant, doesn't it?
That's satisfying for you. That's great. But I always believe that a woman has to have a way of earning a living.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Because if a woman, different from a man, if a woman doesn't have a way of supporting herself, she is in a position of being controlled. That doesn't happen all the time. And it doesn't always happen in a fashion that's aggressive.
Right.
But that's a mentality. And so in the back of your mind, you should always have a way of saying, I don't like this. This is not making me happy. This is not making me fulfilled. I would like to change, but I can't because I have I don't have a plan. I don't have an exit plan.
And there you go. I don't have an exit plan. This is not making me happy. I'm not fulfilled. Okay? Now, maybe back in Judge Judy's day, this would be a form of control. But in today's time with, the division of assets in the family court and child support and, excessive litigation, i.e. lawsuits and things of that nature, there is no more control. A woman can be a homemaker and be a millionaire overnight. All right? She can be a homemaker and have hundreds of thousands of dollars in, a few months. And she doesn't have to pay any legal fees. She doesn't have to do anything except, be a distraught individual, a woman, a wife, or a girlfriend, matter of fact, because there's a tax for that too, right? If you're with the wrong woman. And she can just say, I'm not happy, okay? Cue the sound effect, right? She can just say, I'm not happy and, I'm not fulfilled. I'm not the person I used to be. I've lost myself. And next thing you know, boom, divorce. I get half of everything, depending on what state you're in, depending on how long you've been married. They can play a long game on you. Next thing you know, it's child support. You got 3-4 kids in the mix. All right. You got a business. You got houses, cars, investments, and all that stuff could be basically split in half because I'm not happy. And for Judge Judy, I would say, well, there's no more control. All right. Because women actually have the power in this aspect in the beginning and in the end of the relationship. All right. And of course, like they say, everybody pays in the middle. Right. So let's finish up, baby.
And that's very sad for a woman. A man always has an exit plan. I mean, most men can live out of a shoe. A woman, they really can.
But you were.
And a man can live out of a shoebox because most men, down to the bare bones, is a simple guy. There's certain things that he needs, and they're probably not that expensive. You know what I mean? Outside of, vagina. But he has his hobby. He has his job. He wants his peace. He wants to be nourished with some good food. And he needs to sleep to get up and do it all again the next day. A woman, however, can't live in a shoebox. Most women are insatiable. They reach one bar and then they can't go back down. They have to go to the next bar. They go from a shack to a house. They go from a house to a penthouse. They go from a penthouse to a mansion, to a bigger mansion, to the White House. I mean, they always have to up the ante. They go from a Pinto to a or from a Hyundai to a Maserati to a Lamborghini to a G-Wagon. You know what I'm saying? Like, the brands go up, everything. So a man, of course, can live out of a shoebox because he's simple. Most women are almost never satisfied, and that's also part of the problem. And we understand that's natural for women to want to level up, hypergamy, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, what's wrong with us being simple creatures?
You were ahead of your time in that thinking. That was you were. I mean, you were unique in that way because you were coming up during a time when that wasn't always the way women certainly weren't encouraged to be that way, but also couldn't find it in themselves.
No, they were supposed to be nurses or teachers.
Yes.
My first husband thought that was the only thing women did. They were nurses or teachers.
My mom talks about that her father sat her down and said, "Do you want to be a nurse or a teacher?" Yeah, and he was a lovely
and
man,
he loved her
and loved her very, very much, and believed her to be smart and all of those things, but just assumed like which one? That's your choice,
right?
Yeah. And so So did you get any pushback at the time?
And so they're gonna go a little bit further. Of course, they're covering multiple topics, but they're gonna go into more stuff about culture in the past and things like that. But you see what's going on here, right? Judge Judy has set the stage for her daughter. And now she says she has 2 grandchildren. I'm sure one of them is a girl. And so, yeah, the woman that you are dating or about to marry today has been taught by a woman like Judge Judy that wanted to be the person, the woman that is out there today is the person that Judge Judy wanted to be 50, 60 years ago. So now, here we are, right? You got it, I'm sure. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Let me know what you think about Judge Judy's wonderful advice to all the women out there to have a backup plan, just in case you are not happy. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. We're out of the door. And men, I hope you were paying attention. Reality checks are free. See you next time.